starting to tell you is what happened in 1948. And the second, I want to tell you about our new neighbors, settlers from the West Bank, who are building settlement projects inside the mixed cities. First of all, if you want to, you can sit. I'm not sure it's not wet, but if you want to, you can sit. Sorry. 1948, people who came from abroad, claiming that God promised them our land. Most of them were secular. One of the brilliant non-Zionist professors, Amnon Raz, usually talks about this claim of secular people that God has promised them the land. They say that according to, it seems to be according to their story, God did one thing in his career. Promised them the land and then died. Now, 1940, people came abroad into this Arab area and they wanted to make it Jewish, and they chose to expel the local community. Those who stayed, very small minority, marginal, people who were defeated in a war, and they were considered part of the enemy. So they were concentrated in this neighborhood. The first big catastrophe, the first big Nakba that they suffered is that, and imagine, God forbid, you wake up one morning, all your human environment do not exist anymore. Your father, your mother, your classmate, your brother, your neighbor, any human being you used to see his face before the war was not here anymore after the war. Not just he is not here, according to the new occupier, to the new governor, they were expelled to what he called enemy states, which means, if you want to know if your mother got to Gaza or went north to Lebanon, you will be doing relationship to enemy states. It means that they disappeared, you don't know anything about them, and you are not allowed to ask about them. Because if you do, you're doing something illegal. In one of my interviews with one of the old ladies, she told me, Sami, I want to tell you something you might consider mean. Had I known that they have died, it would have been much easier for me. But the fact that they disappeared and I don't know anything, are they doing good? Are they doing bad? Are they managing? What's happened? Nothing. Now they disappeared. We became a minority in our homeland. The new governor decides that we are not Palestinians. We do not have a national identity. This is why it's much easier to occupy us. We are not a nation at all. We are small groups of religious minorities. And we were not allowed to raise the Palestinian flag till the Oslo agreements in 1993. Raising your national flag will bring you into prison. And of course, you lost the people, you lost also their social function. In a sudden, you cannot continue life after the war of 1948 the way you knew it before. Because you lost all the doctors, all the engineers, all the lawyers, all the teachers, all the nurses, anyone. You lost the people with their social function. So if someone wanted after the war to get married, build a new family, he could not do that the way he knew before the war. Because the woman who makes the dresses is not here anymore. And there is no more wedding court. And the people who makes the music are not here anymore. And the chef who makes the food is not here anymore. People could not continue life the way they knew it before. The new governor came with new religion, new different kind of cultures from all over the world, new languages. People could not go to the doctor because they didn't have a common language. We had a very famous pharmacologist in Jaffa that anyone who had a medical problem would go to him. You have a problem with your eyes, you go to the pharmacy. You have a problem with your leg, you go to the pharmacy. Anything, they called him the doctor of the city. Because he didn't have a common language with the doctor. This is the first catastrophe. You lost all the people, you don't know anything about them. We became a minority in our homeland under military control. People lost all their basic rights. Someone like my grandfather, he's 92, he, before the war, could take a taxi from Jaffa, get down in Beirut. Under the military control, he could not go from this neighborhood to this neighborhood beside it, unless he had a military permission. The second catastrophe was what we call what happened in Palestine in 1948, guys, the biggest armed robbery in the 20th century. The Zionists did not steal a big Palestinian bank or two big companies. They stole everything with the land, with everything on the land. Imagine you come today to New York. There is everything in New York. Buildings, furniture, infrastructure, cars, university, books, gardens, industry, everything. Without the American people. And you want to say that all this is yours. Now modern states are legal states. So they needed to legalize what Dr. Azmi Bishara calls the biggest armed robbery in the 20th century. How do you do that? It's very easy. The new occupiers had their parliament. They sat in their parliament. They offered a law and they voted. And they had a majority. A majority on what? On how to steal our property. It's called the, how do you call it? قانون أملاك الغائبين حكم الثاني القديم, absentee law. This absentee law says like this: Israel will send its people to count all the neglected property. They expelled the people. So the property was neglected. Anyone who was not found inside his property while they were counting the property loses the property to the Israeli state. What do you mean? You expelled them. How can they be refugees in Gaza and sitting in their house in Jaffa on the same second? You see, the law did not say the Palestinians who didn't have the people, the Palestinians who could not prove property. Okay, we have the archives. It's very easy. The state said those who are not inside their property, if you expel them,